Hey there, Jed Coburn is here with the Exercise Physiology Show, where I talk about the physiology of the mind, physiology of the body, physiology of the spirit. On this episode, number 108, I talk about 10 reasons why hitting rock bottom is actually a blessing in disguise. Get ready.
Before starting any exercise program, always get cleared by primary care doctor.
Alright, so Jed.Coburn, right? Here we go. That's who I am. That's what I do. I introduce myself, an exercise physiologist. I am a former fat kid. This is what I do, right? Hitting rock bottom happens. Okay, so there I was, June 2014, sitting in front of the computer at our dining room table. My wife's watching TV. She's 6 months pregnant, and I'm going, oh crap. How are we going to pay for 2 kids in daycare? How are we going to pay the bills and live all at the same time? Right? I mean, that was like rock bottom for me. I was like, okay, what do I do? What can I do? Right? The whole point is if I wouldn't have found, right, if I wouldn't have had that, hit that rock bottom, I wouldn't have found my purpose. I wouldn't be living happily every day and feeling good about it. That's the best part. So I found these 10 reasons. This from theodysseyonline.com, and I made my own spin on it. So reason number 1 that hitting rock bottom is actually a blessing in disguise is you're forced to face the truth, right? When you are finally brought to the surface of truth, that's what happens, right? You never are able to correct those mistakes without hitting rock bottom. They usually go unnoticed until you've actually, your house of cards of denial crumbles. It's not going to happen. You convince yourself basically into thinking that everything is going woo, fine and dandy. You're not, your pathway is heavy. It's too big. The issues have really been too big, and it has happened way bigger than you've ever imagined. Okay, but they're also necessary, because if not, then those behaviors they just keep bringing you down, and they're just not congruent with your growth. Okay, so you were forced with the truth. Number 2, you learn how to forgive yourself, right? You learn how to do that. The second you decide to change your life for the better, right? You start to realize that, what made you so unhappy, you can change. And you become fully aware of just how far off the path of righteousness, and that is just not sustainable for your life. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3 is you become extremely self-aware, and this is really number 3 is probably the most important, I think, but is getting, as soon as you start to become extremely self-aware, you get back onto the path, the righteous path of life. Not right as in right and wrong, but righteous path. You start to question everything. You start to question your motives, your fears, your beliefs, why you did certain things, and really, that you failed, right? And really question why you failed, and that's okay, right? And then you ask yourself the right questions in order to how to work on yourself and how you got to this crippling situation. If you don't, you'll probably end up right back where you started. Okay, so that's number 3. Number 4, you're forced to become a vision and outcome oriented, right? I don't like goals and stuff, but you're forced to be vision and outcome oriented. Once you've asked or answered the necessary questions, that I mentioned before, then you get to pick up those pieces and put them back together in an empowering way, and really find those triggers that made you fall back into those patterns, and be careful with that, right? And on top of that, the roles you've been playing don't have to be so extreme and hurtful, right? They can be what you want them to be, and you can create basic visions and outcomes, so that so that you can counteract your previous behaviors and move forward, essentially, right? Number 5 is you find your purpose. This is a big one too, right? So in fact, you are not where you thought you were in life because you've just been stacking on your ego, right? Your ego gets completely in the way, and you actually didn't have the foundation that was set to successfully accomplish those outcomes that your visions, goals, whatever you want to call them, that you have set. Then when you kind of let go of that kind of stuff, when your ego, that's right there, when you figure that stuff out, you get to just, your ego loosens its grip on you, right? Because you're like, okay, cool, maybe I didn't know, right? And you choose always to live in the present. And as soon as you surrender yourself to your God, universe, and or your inner self, it's more, then the more you come to basically the alignment with your purpose in life, and that itself right there is life changing. Okay, so number 6 is you gain humility. It becomes crystal clear to you, crystal clear meaning, whatever it be, but black and white, right? That everything's not just that. You don't know everything. Actually, you probably realize that you know less than you thought you knew, and you become more of a student than a judge and a jury. Yeah. Number 7, you gain compassion and empathy. As soon as you understand that people who are deep in, some despair, some shame, some guilt and fear, that's what happens, right? And then when you're on your way back up, you can't help but feel, a great amount of compassion and empathy for all humanity, that all humanity endures, which is quite a lot. Okay, so you gain that compassion and empathy. You get to stand beside somebody and help them. So number 8, finally being able to let go. That's a big deal, right? Letting go because nothing is working anyway, right? Nothing is working anyway. You get to let it go. How freeing is that? And then you get to let go of your bad habits and toxic relationships, and people who just are negative. And then, it gives you the full potential for new people, new ideas, opportunities to start just gravitating towards you. Okay. Number 9 is you can only go up from here. Whoa, that's empowering, right? You can only go up from here. The good news is that when you've hit rock bottom, you can't possibly go any lower. The bottom actually acts more like a trampoline to lift you away from the darkness and back into the light. It's kind of crazy how that works. Good work, right? If you can get to that, you got to let it go. And last but not least, 10 being create your own journey, right? Create your own journey to really get in to letting go of the fear and of the material stuff and the toxic people that you thought you needed to be happy. And when you do that, you trust yourself to start the journey to find your sense of being, your sense of purpose, and your sense of self-validation, right? And the inner peace that becomes the key. The inner peace that you gain becomes the key to the new meaningful life that you're about to embark on. So, me looking back, I look back on those days when I was sitting in front of the computer with deep gratitude, and happiness each and every day, not to dwell on the past, but to think of myself as much stronger now with strength. And I would go back in a heartbeat just to feel what that was like and experience the incredible insights, and see how much I've grown, even in those darkest hours. If I were you, you should too. I'm extraordinarily proud of myself for my progress. There's nothing more rewarding than looking back on where I used to be and noticing, that my faith, my strength, and my perseverance, got me where I am today. So yeah, there it is. If you're looking for more information on, any articles like this that I do, go to jedcorporates.com/newsletter and put your name and email in, and I'll see you on the other side. So thanks for watching. As always, if you're willing to change from the neck up, you will change from the neck down. I believe in you. Now it's your turn. Have a great day. Bye for now.